Unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Unexplained aerial phenomenon,
Yep,
really?
yep, UAP. That's the latest nomenclature.
I like the old one. I like UFO. I don't know why.
Well, I think we can use them interchangeably, but I would like us to go into those files and hopefully make as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there.
What if there is something there?
Well, if there is something there, unless it's a threat to national security, I think we ought to share it with the public.
Well, Hillary Clinton on Jimmy Kimmel saying that if she were president, she would like to release information on Area 51, that Air Force Base in Nevada, some people believe stores classified government files on UFOs. Amy Chosniak of the New York Times writes that, quote, Mrs. Clinton has vowed that barring any threats to national security, she would open up government files on the subject, a shift from President Obama, who typically dismisses the topic as a joke. Her position has elated UFO enthusiasts who have declared Mrs. Clinton the first ET candidate. That's their quote. Clinton's campaign chairman and her husband's former advisor, John Podesta, an X-Files fanatic, according to the Times, has pushed for the disclosure of this information for years.
I think it's time to open the books on questions that have remained in the dark, on the question of government investigations of UFOs. It's time to find out what the truth really is that's out there. We ought to do it really because it's right. We ought to do it because the American people, quite frankly, can handle the truth. And we ought to do it because it's the law.
Well, Clara Moskowitz is the senior editor of Scientific America. She covers space and physics. There's a couple of questions. Thank you for coming on, Ms. Moskowitz. One, is there any physical evidence on this planet, has anyone ever found, of UFOs?
Look, I'd be the first to admit it if there was, but no, there's absolutely no reason to think aliens have been here.
No evidence of spaceships, flying saucers, ETs of any kind? None. It's never been discovered or detected or claimed?
Absolutely not. I mean, take Area 51. Okay, we know that that's where the government tests experimental aircraft. So if people have seen weird-looking aircraft flying around, it seems perfectly reasonable. All of the claimed evidence can be explained in perfectly logical, normal ways like that.
Let me ask you about the other question I have, which is to do with communication. We've all seen the Jodie Foster, not everybody, I see everything, I guess, the Jodie Foster movie, Contact. Have we, in our efforts to try to offer up the chance to have some foreign intelligence respond to us, ever gotten a response to those broadcasts, those transmissions?
We have not gotten any response. You know, occasionally, like, we've seen a signal that got everybody excited, but so far everything has a perfectly logical astrophysical explanation. It doesn't mean we've stopped searching. You know, people are actively looking because pure statistics says, sure, maybe life is out there. It seems reasonable. We see planets everywhere we look out in the universe. But so far, there's not a shred of anything resembling scientific evidence that aliens exist anywhere.
You know, anybody in public life, like people like me in journalism and been in politics, you come across people who have strong beliefs about conspiracies. They usually, unfortunately, I meet a lot of them and they come up to me and they always have a unitary theory. Of course, if they believe John Kennedy was shot by the mob or by somebody else on the right, they will say that. And then they'll also say that Bobby Kennedy was shot in the same mysterious way. Some people just have an inclination for conspiracies. Where would you connect? What would you say about people who believe there is a situation where the government of the United States knows about ETs, it knows about space creatures coming here, and is for whatever reason, and this is the hard one, why do they think they've covered it up?
Right. I mean, they think that we can't handle the truth, except people love that stuff. It would be one of the most inspiring discoveries in the history of mankind. I think people would be eager to share that evidence. And so the whole government conspiracy just doesn't fly because, first of all, it's not plausible that they could keep something a secret this well for this long, something that huge. And the motivation's just not there at all. You would definitely have a whistleblower, right?
Why do you think Hillary Clinton wants to open the files?
You know, I have to say, I really don't know.
I mean, it could be pandering. Politics, I know politics. I don't know this foreign stuff or alien culture potentials, but I can tell you know what politics is. If there's a group of 1 million people out there and nobody's going for them yet, and they're UFO aficionados, Hillary would go for them like any other politician. She's just the first one to grab for them. I know how politics works. There must be some people out there who want to hear this, want to hear the files are going to be open, and will vote on that one issue. I'm sure there's probably a couple hundred thousand people like that.
You know,
What do you
maybe
think?
it's about government transparency. I'm all for releasing the records. Look, I mean, I think that let's put this mystery to bed, right?
Yeah.
You know, those few people who still are holding out because they think there's a conspiracy will see the records and realize there isn't. So I'm all for releasing that data, but I can't imagine that there's going to be a huge political gain in that.
I think they'll say it was a cover-up no matter what comes out. That's the way the mind works. Thank you, Claire Moskowitz. I love your clear thinking and logic and scientific, well, method. Up next, Mind the Gap.